welcome to Trading Capital's emergency live stream. We have a big announcement, crypto announcement from the Department of Justice, the US Treasury, and the FBI regarding something to do with a crypto exchange. Right now, the rumors are that it's BitLazo. It's a Russian exchange that was hacked and has been compromised, and they are basically, I think, banning that crypto exchange from all North American or US participants. But we still have not heard from the Department of Justice. They should usually be coming out for a big press release, so we'll monitor their website. We obviously are tuned into another also live stream, just trying to gain as much information as possible so that we can be the first movers of this potential groundbreaking event. Right now, Bitcoin didn't like that potential announcement, as well as the markets are trading lower. The dollar's catching a little bit of a bounce because there's certainly some fear creeping into the market. So we're going to continue to watch things as they progress. So we're just listening, waiting. The markets are still holding this technical support level. You can see that we've retraced to this pivot, this pivot, this pivot, and that's what we're holding. If we lose that, markets likely come and fill this gap today. My downside measured move for the markets today is still this 386 if there was to be a hard sell. But right now, we're just waiting patiently to potentially see if there's any other contagion that could come from this crypto. There was a lot of speculation that it could have been Binance's platform. So we're obviously watching Binance extremely closely as well. But you can see the big bid that it got off of that initial rumor that it was just a Russian exchange. But the stock market still is acting very weak. Very weak. You have Apple breaking down. Tech is breaking down. The Dow transports have starting to roll over. So we're seeing a lot of weakness creep in. And it's certainly spreading into the stock market. All it takes is one little fear-based event. And that's what happens. So we're watching the S&P making new lows. Crypto's actually bounced significantly, but the stock market still trends lower. So with more capital and smarter capital in the stock market as opposed to the crypto, I would favor that if the stock market continues to sell, we're likely going to see crypto get pulled to the downside as well. And I mean, look at that epic coin short. Do you remember how when we were shorted coin this morning? Look at that epic fall on coin. Just a crazy, crazy fall. Spiders are still trickling lower. Bitcoin's still remaining relatively strong. Look at BNB.
So he said that, I said to him, how long
so the spiders have really just seen straight continuous selling right from that morning high when we hit a pivot, put in a topping tail at around the 400 level. And why has the market sold as well? Well, if we simply look at the DXY, DXY has put in a beautiful reversal. And on the 4-hour chart, you do have a little 4-hour bottoming tail there. And the interesting thing about the DXY is that if it puts in a daily bottoming tail by closing up here, that would be extremely bearish for the markets. So let's just continue to look at the SPY. SPY is still trickling lower. We are net short this market, so this is great to see this particular action. And it's really fascinating that the technicals, we prepped everyone in our members that markets were into massive resistance.
Department of Justice has dealt a significant blow
So we listen.
to the crypto crime ecosystem. Justice Department agents and prosecutors, working in partnership with the Treasury Department and French law enforcement, have disrupted BitLazo,
China-based.
a China-based cryptocurrency exchange notorious for laundering criminal proceeds from the dark net.
So we just seem to have lost a signal here with the stream. Bitcoin still remains. Spiders are still catching potential little bid. That's the BitSlato site. Clearly you can see that we can't gain access to it. Never even heard of the exchange.
Just seeing if anybody else can hear me or anyone else there. Might be
the
a glitch
dollars
on my end.
continue.
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Can you guys? You can't hear Rand.
No, I think it's because he's muted. Maybe that's
He's
why the
muted
sound
himself,
stopped.
which is mute the sound. Rand, you need to.
And cryptocurrency.
There we go.
Okay.
And we are
okay.
taking steps to address the crisis of confidence in the cryptocurrency markets, where criminals and fraudsters seek to operate beyond the reach of law enforcement. Malicious actors, working from what they think are safe havens, are exploiting crypto markets and flouting the laws and the regulations that guard the integrity of our financial system, and along with it, the earnings and investments of law-abiding Americans. It's no secret that cyber criminals rely on these bad actors to launder their criminal proceeds from cryptocurrency into fiat currency. But today, thanks to a coordinated international effort, Justice Department prosecutors and agents have disrupted a busy corner of this criminal ecosystem. Last night in Miami, FBI agents arrested Legadimov, a Russian national and the founder and majority owner of BitSlato,
Dollars
a
continue to
Hong
push.
Kong registered cryptocurrency exchange. The charges allege that he operated BitSlato as a high-tech financial hub, as he put it, that catered to, quote, known crooks. BitSlato failed to implement safeguards required by US law, safeguards that enable law enforcement to detect and to investigate financial crimes. Instead, BitSlato facilitated the transmission of hundreds of millions of dollars in illicit funds, fueling darknet marketplaces, and laundering the proceeds of ransomware attacks. For example, as alleged, BitSlato was a crucial financial resource for the notorious Hydra darknet market, the disruption of which I announced from this podium last April, at that time with our German partners. Now, Hydra was the world's longest running and largest darknet marketplace, responsible for 80% of the world's darknet transactions. Together, Hydra and BitSlato formed a high-tech axis of crypto crime. Hydra buyers funded illicit purchases of illegal drugs, stolen financial information, and hacking tools from crypto accounts hosted at BitSlato. And sellers of these illegal goods and services at Hydra sent criminal proceeds to accounts at BitSlato, all to the tune of over $700 million in direct and indirect transfers between 2018 and 2022.
I'm going to say that this
Now, I've said before,
this sounds like the kind of enforcement that we actually want from the Department of Justice.
So the dollar's
not
rallying.
The type of enforcement we
has now
don't want.
almost
today's
gone green.
action against BitSlato, as with the disruption of Hydra, reflects another critical step in executing on that strategy. At the time of Legadimov's arrest, and continuing into the early hours of this morning, the department's international and domestic partners engaged in a coordinated campaign of disruption. That campaign includes law enforcement actions in multiple European countries, the seizure of BitSlato's servers, and enforcement actions by the Treasury Department here in the United States. These actions show not only the broad scope of the defendant's alleged crimes, but also the international net dropped by law enforcement to stop him and his business partners. With these actions, today marks the end of the Hydra BitSlato crypto crime axis. We've also busted the business model of the cyber criminals that Bitslotto supported. And coordinated operations like these against Bitslotto, using all tools and designed for maximum impact, are the linchpins of international success against cybercrime. Our actions also mark the most significant enforcement effort against a cryptocurrency exchange by the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, launched last year following a comprehensive cyber review led by my office. To all of those exploiting the cryptocurrency ecosystem to enable crypto crime, we have a clear message. We will not only target hackers, fraudsters, and criminals that mask their profits in cryptocurrency, we are also unleashing the full force of the Department of Justice on the illicit actors and entities that support cyber criminals, like Legadimov and Bitslotto. Operating offshore or moving your servers out of the continental US will not shield you. And whether you break our laws from China or Europe, or abuse our financial system from a tropical island, you can expect to answer for your crimes inside a United States courtroom. I want to thank the agents, analysts, and prosecutors who worked diligently to investigate this case. And finally, a tremendous thanks to our foreign partners and the Treasury Department for their collaboration in this and other cryptocurrency and cybercrime cases. And now let me turn the podium over to Assistant Attorney General Polite.
So I think we don't need to listen to the rest of it because I guess it's probably going to be much more of the same. And it does sound like it's Bitslotto, and it's not. It's
so clearly you're seeing the U.S. flex their muscles in terms of honing in the crypto regulation. They are uttering threats to anybody that is willing to participate in illegal crypto actions. Clearly they're trying to crack down. So overall, Bitcoin has had a bounce off of the lows, but it's still stuck under resistance. The DXY has actually had a tremendous move. It's almost closing back positive on the session. It'll be interesting to see if that happens. Spiders are still seeing some weakness, but you're at support.
This trend, I think, yeah. I mean, who wants ransomware? That's a dark cloud over our industry, and being able to make these signals and these types of announcements that, I think that's bullish. I think that's good.
Yeah. So, who else was trying to speak there? Let's try to get you up as well.
So I think that sums it up. We really have heard the important, juicy parts of the spiel from the U.S. Department of Justice, FBI, Treasury. Ultimately, I do think Bitcoin's going to trade lower. You've retraced back to the breakdown zone over here, this white trend line, and now it looks like you're trying to pull off. Basically, the big catalyst for the market today is going to be this US dollar. If we recapture this white line, these markets could see a hard dump to the downside. You are seeing weakness in the S&P continuing, weakness in Apple and tech. So obviously, the dollar is going to be pretty much the powerhouse moving forward. If this strength continues in the dollar, we likely see equities roll over along with crypto. And we're seeing the SPY making and testing new lows potentially. Let's go to the 15-minute. Dollar's pumping. Dollar's trying to go positive. If the dollar goes positive today, that is going to scare a lot of the bulls out of this market. If that dollar goes positive today, which it's just slightly there, you will see this market sell off a lot harder. And considering you've put in bearish consolidation here on the 15, the spiders do favor a break lower. So let's let these markets sell off. We may get some day trading opportunities in the afternoon, but I'm not going to be doing this whole live stream as the markets sell. It's looking like there's going to be some big catalysts in the markets, especially if that US dollar is continuing to surge, which is looking likely it is. It has officially now gone almost positive, about 3 cents still positive zone, but the S&P is starting to see some weakness. The dollar is trying to surge. If you look at on the daily chart, you can see that massive reversal. Interesting.
from FTX, right? So that to me is the line in the sand. So today's action, honestly, I view it as being a positive, like a lot of you guys, where it's like it's showing you that the government isn't trying to take down crypto. They're just trying to take down the bad actors in crypto. And so I think that's an overall
to pay a ransom, Bitcoin prices would surge.
Sorry, my bad. Say that again. Sorry, just my
No
video
worries.
which was loading.
Yeah. No worries. So for me, right, so if we were to somehow get above the 21.5 level and actually hold there for a few days, that would eclipse the psychological level where FTX collapse began. That's where I would start to say, okay, there might be something more than that. But right now we're still into resistance and we're still into that level. So until proven otherwise, I have to go for the pullback angle.
Okay. I want you guys to hear something. It is it's a theory as to why the Bitcoin market went up in the last couple of days or weeks, and it relates to remember a couple of days ago, all the US flights were grounded due to a glitch in the computer system. So I have this video from Tucker Carlson. You can hear it now.
Almost all ransoms like this are paid in Bitcoin. So if the US government was buying huge amounts of Bitcoin in order to pay a ransom, Bitcoin prices would surge, of course.
This is the interesting thing. The markets have gone negative and the dollar's just slowly starting to turn positive. So if the dollar continues its rally, watch out below. And this is what we have been preaching. The dollar is at technical support. It's likely going to have a bounce. Markets are at resistance. It's all about probabilities. Bitcoin's struggling to recapture this resistance. As long as we remain below this red trend line, this 21,416, that's huge resistance.
Carlson says that it could be because the US air systems, the computer that runs it, was hacked in a ransomware attack, and the ransomware was to be paid by the US government in Bitcoin. And so they went out and bought the Bitcoin to pay the ransomware attack. I mean, surely he would know that things like this could be seen on chain if this was happening, right? And I think it's just irresponsible to be saying things like that.
Yeah, I agree. And the ransomware attack, if it was a ransomware attack, I don't think it would have been rectified within like 4 hours or whatever it took.
Yeah, I agree with you. Someone just tweeted something very funny. He says his name is David Iash. He says, Bitslado, you've never heard of it, but it just got your short position liquidated.
So now that we've heard the announcements, just to recap things, the markets are very vulnerable to the downside. We're likely going to continue to see the markets move lower, especially if we keep an eye on the dollar and that remains strong. But overall, it's looking likely that the downside of the S&P, if it breaks this level, we could fill this gap to the downside today late in the afternoon. You may have an intraday bounce near these pivots, but it's very risky to play it, especially since the dollar is surging. Recaptured and bounced off of the lows. The big level for Bitcoin is, can it get back inside this white trend line above there? If it can't, in the next 36 minutes, you likely go and retest this lower boundary wick. But overall, it's not as bad of an announcement as it could have been. It's not like Binance was banned or Nexo. It's a much smaller platform that really probably didn't account to much volume in the crypto market anyway. But nevertheless, it is showing that the US has eyes on the crypto market now, and they're trying to flex their muscles. And this is why we're also seeing the US dollar bounce. But overall, the markets are expected to continue to sell off of this news. So expect more downside, but watch that US dollar. Watch that US dollar. Other than that, we will see you back live in the afternoon stream to wrap up the market close. Take care, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. And please subscribe down below and wait for more market price action. Take care, everybody.